Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. It's cold. It's sunny. You can see the sun shining through. And I have such, I've been looking forward to this interview, and I'm going to explain why, with Fernando Rebolledo, because we met where I meet so many people on LinkedIn, and one thing led to another, and I kind of looked at Fernando's profile, and I started reading down as we had connected, and about halfway down, I go like this. And he's going for a PhD at Rutgers, and when I started to read what he's doing, and I'm a pretty intelligent guy, a couple degrees from Rutgers. I have no clue. No clue what he's doing, and I said to myself, "What a fabulous interview!" Because his background is so amazing. His journey to get where he's at is so amazing, and what he does beyond the research and the academics and how he gives back is so amazing. So this all came together, and here we are. It was hard to corral and get Fernando because he's a busy guy, and I'm well into my retirement years, so I have the time. So I've said enough as an intro, Fernando. So and there's so much to you. So why don't you kind of introduce yourself and do a little bio and talk about your home, Mexico, etc. Take it away.
All right. Well, first of all, Calvin, thank you very much for having me here, for giving me this amazing opportunity. I was looking forward since we met, and we are talking almost a year ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Almost a year, around like 10 months.
yeah.
That's when we connect.
That's right.
Until December, we were able to schedule our agendas to figure out this date, right? So I really appreciate your opportunity, and I'm really happy to be here. So about myself, well, I was born and raised in Mexico in a little town called Veracruz. Veracruz is I always say that it's in the southeast of Mexico. We are a city next to the Gulf of Mexico. And people are really nice. That's what I think. People are really nice. And I think I learned from them, right? That's why I consider myself like a nice person, always trying to help others as much as I have the possibilities, right? And yeah, and well, now I'm here in New Jersey, in the cold weather of New Jersey, pursuing a PhD in biomedical engineering.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, it is kind of cold. It's going to get even colder the next couple of days. But anyway, um, so I always find it interesting because why don't you talk about your bachelor's degree, which was in electrical engineering? Oh, by the way, you know what? I have an idea. Before you even get a chance to answer that, the video title, just so that folks can know right off the bat, is and I should say this, you're a Rutgers PhD student. You're in Biomed Engineering, and you'll explain that. You're a Fulbright Scholar winner. You do so much work in mentoring and education and giving back and volunteering. And there's so much to you. You worked in a nuclear power plant, which you'll talk about. You were at a USC. I mean, there's so much to unpack. So let's go back and talk a little bit about your bachelor's degree in electrical engineering.
Okay, let's do it then. I always like to start with my bachelor's because maybe you're asking yourself why he's in electrical engineering and then he's doing a PhD in biomedical engineering. Why it just changed, right? And it changed for many reasons. But let's start from the beginning. All right. So, and we start before my bachelor's. So, I was able to get educated back in Mexico, thanks to my mother. Right. She's a single mother, and she's a lawyer over there in my hometown in Veracruz. And she was always pushing me to get the best education as possible. Right. And since I was a child and I can remember, she was able to pay for a bilingual school. So I have the middle of my day was Spanish, the middle of the other, like the other half, it was English courses, right? And I'm really grateful, right? Because of her, I'm here. Because of her, I'm exactly here talking with you right now. And I'm really grateful with my mother. I mean, of course, she's my mom. Who is not grateful from the mother, right? The person that gives you life.
Yep.
So she's like um, the real hero in this story, right? So I really thank her, and I think it's a good way to say thank you to her, especially in this video that will remain forever. All right. But well, yeah, she gave me all the opportunities. She paid for my education. While I was doing my middle school, I had this physics teacher, right? He was so young, so nice, and I asked him, "Hey, what did you study? Right? That you are a teacher, right? Or do you study for only being a teacher, or what are you like? How you know a lot about physics or mathematics, right?" And he told me, "Oh, I'm an electrical engineer. I study in this university in Veracruz, and I think it's a great bachelor's degree, and I think it's a great career to follow." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna take a look." And I mean, I was in middle school, right? I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a look in the near future. Let's see." And I got involved in electrical engineering and all, like, you can, with all the knowledge you have, you can do this, you can do that, you can do X or Y, you can create devices, you can make them happen, right? Uh, how like everything works, like how a cell phone can communicate with another person, how the video that we are recording right now is going through you and I can see you back, you
Yeah.
know? And I was like, I would definitely want to study electrical engineering. So I finished my middle school, I finished my high school. I applied to several schools, including the Navy back in Mexico, right? And the university which I studied, which is Universidad Veracruzana, University of Veracruz.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, at the end, I decided to go to University of Veracruz and I studied electrical engineering. And it was quite fast. And I say in this because usually a bachelor's, you spend around 4 to 5 years, right? At least in Mexico. And I finished my bachelor's in 3 years and a half,
Wow. Wow.
right? I was taking a bunch of courses, not impossible, but it was quite challenging, right? But I like it, right? I like challenges. So I finished my bachelor's in electrical engineering. I learned a lot from the teachers over there in my school of engineering. I always was asking the students that were like seniors or above me, like, which teacher is the best for this, right? All of them are good, but which one is the best? Which one is the more challenging one? Which one is the one who's gonna give me gray hair at the age of 19 years old? Just give me that one, right? And I always like, they told me, hey, this guy is good. It's gonna be challenging. You're gonna learn a lot, but be careful. Maybe the grade that you want, it won't happen, right? I said, you know, I'm in. I'm gonna go for that, and let's see what happened at the end. And thankfully, I was always getting good grades, but I was also learning a lot, right? And I said, okay, well, I can push it a little bit more. Let's grab more courses. Let's see what I can get. So at one point, I was taking this optic course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm mentioning this because that was like a key factor of my career right now. So I was taking this course with this professor. He was a physicist, right, in a Bionanotechnology laboratory back in Mexico. And he said, "Hey, Fernando, you look like you're a really nice person, and you're always asking questions. And would you like to have an opportunity to work with me in my laboratory?"
Wow.
Right? And I said, "I don't have any experience, but I would like to give it a try." So I I went with him and I start uh, working in research. Right? At that moment, research was, we have this idea, let's read these papers, come up with an idea, we discuss. Right? Maybe the resources weren't enough, but the idea was there, up in the air. Right? So I was like interchanging. I was in that laboratory for a year, learning from other like graduate students,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was still like focusing in my bachelor's, right, doing my courses, etc. And yeah, like that was my undergrad, like my bachelor's time. I was focusing in my courses, in my degree, but also getting into the field of research, right, a little bit, right. And this professor mentioned about several opportunities of fellowships, right? And I applied to one of them, which is called Young of Excellence, from a company or like a bank agency in Mexico. And I applied to it, and boom, I was able to pass all the filters, and I got it. And that was also important for the future opportunities I had. Yeah.
Okay. So, of interest also is you did a summer internship in 2015 at USC in Biomed Engineering. Can you just say a couple of
Yes.
things about that?
So that's a great question, and thank you for that. And I thank you for that because, as I mentioned previously, right, when I got this scholarship of Young of Excellence, this scholarship, apart from giving you like a little stipend, right, we're talking about 1,000 pesos a month. You put it in dollars, it would be $50 a month. It's not a lot, but it's enough, right? And at least for me, that I was a full-time student, right, and it was great. So this scholarship gave me like a tutor or like a mentor, right? That someone that was already in the US education system doing a master's or a PhD, right? And this person, which I'm really grateful, right? My former mentor, Agustin told me, "Hey, Fernando, I'm in Los Angeles. I know people in various universities here in this area, UCLA or USC, that are Mexicans like you, like me, right? And I know there are several programs. They want international students to come to learn, right? For like training them for to be a potential graduate students for them, right? Graduate students that are gonna pursue like a PhD, especially a PhD, right? So I got all my connections. I talked with them. I apply. Boom! I got an opportunity to go to USC. I was usually the people that was going in Mexico was people from really famous and good universities, but in Mexico City. But and I think at that moment, I don't know right now, but at that moment, nobody from outside Mexico City had the opportunity.
Wow.
And somehow I just was able to get in, right? I
Wow.
was able to get in. I got the opportunity, and I went to USC to do research in the biomedical engineering department. And the lab was doing microfabrication for applications specifically in the biomedical or biological field. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I got to get this right, and you got to help. So, um, you you're quite amazing in your persistence. And so you're done with your BS, and you always dreamed of getting a PhD. And why don't you talk about that? Because there's some rejection and there's some fighting that you did,
Yeah.
and eventually somewhere along the line you battled and you got a Fulbright. scholarship. So talk about that, because that leads up to where you're at now in Rutgers, but you're a fighter.
Yeah, definitely. So as I said, I did some research experience over there in USC in the biomedical microsystem laboratory, right? Was helping another graduate student. She was great. She was amazing. The advisor was amazing too, right, from USC. But the graduate student, she was great. And not the funny thing, but the amazing thing for me, and it was like an example. This graduate student that I was helping, she was Mexican, just like me, right? But we never speak in Spanish. We always speak in English
Interesting.
because I needed to practice my English, right? I was in the area, in the field, in the country that they speak English. So I was speaking English, trying to improve my English. Maybe sometimes I didn't understand any like something. I always like, hey, can I talk with you in Spanish because I don't get it. I don't know how to say it in English. It was great, right? So after I finished that experience, which I said, well, I can use my electrical engineering background, right, to apply that into the biomedical engineering field, right? Especially with the experience or the knowledge, right? Maybe basic, but at least knowledge, right? And in electrical engineering, I could use that to, I don't know, integrate these systems for future applications in the biomedical field, right? So I came back so excited to Mexico after my summer. And I say, I need to finish my undergraduate degree as soon as possible. That was August. I said, I need to apply to grad school in December, right? I need to apply to grad school in December. I need to study for my TOEFL, like all the international tests that I need to do, TOEFL, the GRE for graduate school. Well, I did that. I applied to universities in December, right, without any scholarship. I just applied myself, right? I asked for a letter of recommendation. Everything was done.
Wow.
I applied to 4 universities. And you know what? The 4 universities, they said, Fernando, it's not your time. No admission for you this time. So the 4 of them rejected me. And I was so sad. I was destroyed. I'm like, why? Like, how was I able to get this opportunity in the summer and now they are rejecting me? I'm really that bad, you know? What I'm missing right now to have this opportunity? What I did wrong? So after talking with my family and friends, I said, hey, you know what? That's fine. Let's just wrap it up. Let's present my thesis dissertation in my bachelor's, and the opportunity is gonna be there. I was gonna keep persisting, but let me just finish my bachelor's. That's the first thing I need to do and get a job. So I was able to get an opportunity, right, to work in a nuclear power plant.
Yeah. I mean, what was that like? I mean,
So it was amazing. It was different. That's when I opened my eyes, like, oh well, it's different from being in a chair and listening to a professor or a teacher, right, rather in the board, and being in the industry, right, and especially an industry where if you do something wrong, a whole country could disappear,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I was there. I was working in the instrumentation and control group, right? And I was working as a control and instrumentation technician, right? Like a basic position, started position, right? And I was working with.
Did you have any fear of being in a nuclear power plant with
I mean, before I applied into that, I was so afraid. I have heard people is like, it's dangerous, don't do it. It's gonna be more stuff. Better than that, don't go for that. And I say, hey, I think it's a good opportunity if I have all the qualities and the skills. If I try it and they accept me, I'm gonna do it. You know, I want to learn. I don't wanna be always behind the wall and I don't know what's going on like after, right? I need to be in to
Okay.
know the real experience.
Okay.
So I got the opportunity, I get in, I worked for only 3 months, right? I learned a lot. It was challenging. Challenging, why? Because I was a student, I was an engineer, right? Recently graduated. There were people there, they didn't have a bachelor degree.
Wow.
But that doesn't make them less, right? Or more than me. One thing that is a big difference is that they are experienced, which I didn't have, right? So it was challenging because sometimes they were asking, hey, so you're an engineer, right? It's like, yes, I am. It's like, all right, well, you're gonna figure this out by yourself, figure it out. And I was trying to figure it out. Sometimes I couldn't. I asked, it's like, that's fine, that's fine. I'm gonna show you how to do it, and then you need to do it by yourself. And it's just like learning from the experience of these people, right? Really nice people, and they are always willing to help. I say, well, I have been always like that, just like you, willing to help. So I guess in academia and in industry, you need to be always willing to help others. If you don't know how to help that people, I'm pretty sure you know someone that will be able to help him, right? And you make that connection.
Okay. So, that under your belt, you're applying to different schools, and talk a little bit about your journey to get a Fulbright scholarship, which you got.
That's a great question, and thank you for asking that. So, as I was saying, right, I was working in the nuclear power plant, and at the same time, it's like one weekend, just like a buck hit of my hit my head. Is like, hey, remember that you wanted to apply to grad school and go for a PhD? There's this opportunity that you already know about it. Like I knew about the Fulbright scholarship since I was starting my bachelor's, and the requirements were like high GPA, English level good or excellent, uh, English test, English like examination test, bachelor's degree finished, letter of recommendations. I say, well, I think I have everything. Uh, let's apply for it. So I applied while I was working in nuclear power plant. I applied 2 days before the deadline. That was February 2016, right? By May 2016, and I was working in nuclear power plant. By May 2016, I received an email, right? And they said, hey, Fernando, you got the Fulbright scholarship, right? Would you accept that? Or what you gonna do? You wanna reject that? Let us know, please, by this day.
Wow.
And I said, yes, I'm getting the Fulbright scholarship. I want it, right? And after that, it's like, well, you need to prepare for English exams. You need to prepare your documents. It's gonna be really hard. And I said to myself and my family, you know what? I got this opportunity. I'm gonna stop working in the nuclear power plant, right? Because it was just like a temporary job for like 3-4 months, and then I was gonna apply for a full time. And I say, I'm not applying for the full time. I'm not. They just go for the scholarship. I quit that. I get out from the nuclear power plant, and I dedicate my time to get the Fulbright scholarship. I applied for a special one. There are different Fulbright scholarship. Mine was a STEM, right? STEM Fulbright scholarship. I think we maybe like 100 students or maybe a little bit more, right? Apply for that one, right? You need to have certain requirements. I applied for that one, and only eight of us get it.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So I was so proud. I was the only one from my hometown.
Yeah.
Right. I said, like, this is amazing. This is a great opportunity. I need to go for it. And I got the Fulbright scholarship. And then all the dreams that I was always dreaming, they become reality.
Wow. Wow. Quite a journey. And then your journey now, you're at Rutgers now.
Yes.
You're now at Rutgers. You're going for a PhD, and part. And I got to say this right. And here's where here's where I'm clueless. So part of what you're doing now is MEMS, which I don't know what that is. You'll tell us, and also a fluid mechanics.
No, it's the lab where I'm working on is
microfluidics.
Microfluidics. Yes.
Right, I mean, all right. So
That's completely
microfluidics,
fine.
MEMS, and if you could just tell a little bit about that, and then part of the answer is so everybody out there, what are some of the practical applications of what you're doing?
Definitely, definitely.
So take it away.
I will give you like a brief and
Yeah, don't get too
trying to be as clear as
perfect.
glass, or so
Okay.
everybody can understand. So MEMS stands for microelectromechanical systems, right? And this is like a technology that is mostly like miniature devices, right? Which they can go from different ranges of dimensions, right? And they could go from hundreds of microns, right? Microns is super small, right? Is meters, right? It would be to the power of -6, right?
Small.
Microns is really small, to several millimeters, right? Several millimeters. Usually these MEMS, right, are like, as I said, like machines or devices that have tiny parts, most of them mechanical, right? Some of them they can move, some of them they cannot move. But at the end of the day, what it makes them MEMS, or what is the main requirement so they can be called MEMS, right, is that at least some elements can mechanically interact with within them or with something else in the system.
Okay.
Right. So at the beginning, it was just these devices were made in the semiconductor industry, right? Why? Because the microfabrication steps or approaches were compatible, right? The same way you create chips, or like chips or integrated circuits that you can find in your cell phone, right? You can find in your cell phone. You can use the same fabrication processes to develop these MEMS devices.
Okay.
Now, the MEMS field is huge. It's huge, right? And it could go for different like applications. It can go for the automotive applications. For example, when you have your seatbelt, there is like a sensor in the belt, where if you pull it fast, right, it's gonna sense that you're pulling it fast, so it's gonna lock your seatbelt, right?
Wow.
So the MEMS are everywhere, right? In your same cell phone, there is something called gyroscope. You wanna, when you're
Yes.
flipping your
Yes.
cell phone, right? So that's MEMS technology. And for my field, right, for the biomedical engineering field, there is a subfield in the MEMS that is called BioMEMS, or MEMS for biomedical or biological applications, right? So that's exactly what we are doing in our lab, right? We are working with MEMS devices, either mechanical devices or microfluidic devices, right? To the to go for different biological applications. All right. And mainly for my project, right, I'm working in a technology that uses a polymer, right, that is micromachinable. In other words, this polymer can be etched, or you can add layers of metals, etc., right, to create these MEMS devices, right, from scratch, from zero. And the advantage of this is that this polymer is biocompatible, right? So imagine all the applications you can do. You can even like put it inside the human body, right? If that's the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can create wearable devices like sensors that go in your skin, right? So the field and the application is huge,
Huge.
right? It's huge. And yes, so my project is mainly creating these microsystems for potential lab on a chip applications. So when I'm talking of lab on a chip, is imagine like a laboratory where you can analyze like fluids or several biological samples in one little chip this size.
Wow.
right? So that in simple words is what I'm working
Well, it's
on,
not simple.
and
It's not simple, but
and several colleagues more in my laboratory. Yeah.
it's just beyond fascinating. It's beyond fascinating. It's funny. Some years ago, I went to a conference in New York. It was Ray Kurzweil, this inventor, and they had people from all over the world talking about um, uh, the future of the world of science. And there was a Russian scientist there uh, um, who was talking about taking this here, just like we would take information. Uh, we would take information and transfer it to like a hard drive. My, I do that every night. I move stuff to my external hard drive. Well, this Russian scientist was trying to come up with a way to take everything up here in the brain and transfer it to a cyborg, like the Terminator kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and this way, using all the technology, after all, this is our essence, and therefore able to give a person immortality. Uh, and he said, well, he's about 30 or 40 years away from being able to do that. I mean, and it kind of ties into what you were saying, um, what the future is. Anyway, listening to you and remembering that, all interesting stuff. There's a big part of you, and we kind of wind down. There's a big part of you that loves to give back and to mentor, and that's one of your essences. And I know you've been back, I think, to Mexico to teach young people how to apply for Fulbright scholarships. And that's part of who you are, the mentoring. You also do some kind of a charitable work, and called One to World. So if you just want to briefly touch
Yeah,
on some
definitely.
of that.
I will be really happy. So yeah, I mean, I really like to give back in any way I can. You know why? Because people help me the same way, right? And they didn't charge me for that help. But what they told me was, just as the way I help you, you need to help others. Because there is many people that are over the place with dreams, right? That they just need a little like they just need someone that can push them a little bit, right? Or give them a hand to reach their goals, right? So they did that to me, and I said, hey, this is like a change. You need to help others so you can keep in the same vibes, good vibes for your life, for them, right? So since I have been here in the United States, people from my former university, they reach out to me. It's like, hey, Fernando, I know you because of this organization. We haven't never met. I have followed your story. I want your help. I want to apply to this university or to this scholarship, right? Do you mind spending time with me, right? And give me like some of your feedback. And I always said, yes, I will be more than happy. But the first thing I want you is like you agree with me that whenever, if you get the scholarship or if you get the opportunity, or even if you don't get it, right? For X or Y reason, it's not your time. That happened to me. So nothing to worry about. Please share your experience with someone else,
Well,
right? Since then, I have been helping students. So far, I have helped, let's say, around 6 that were able to succeed and get the scholarship they want,
wow.
right? And like 1 week ago, I received a couple of messages from a couple of them saying, Fernando, two universities accepted me. They gave me full scholarship. I'm still waiting for other ones to reach out to me. Thank you so much. It's like, no, you did everything, you know? I was only here just to listen to you and give him all my expertise in the application process, right? But you did everything. So congratulations to you, right? The same with the other student. And, you know, and that's the way I like to help, not only the education, whatever that you have. If people have asked me, Fernando, like, I'm finishing my high school, what I should study is like, what do you like, you know? What do you like? Do you like engineering? You like music? Whatever you like, just go for it, you know? As long as you feel comfortable doing it, go for it. People are gonna talk always, right? Like, no, that's bad for you. Don't do that, right? It's like, no, you do what your gut feeling is telling you because that's the right one. That's the right one always, right?
Noble, noble, wonderful giving back. We spoke about this before we went on air. You know, I got involved in all of the stuff I'm doing because one day I decided to give back, you know, do a little networking at Rutgers, a little mentoring, and giving back to students and passing on the stuff that I've learned over the years. And that actually led to my becoming a teacher at Rutgers last fall in career exploration. So giving back, what you do is, it's really good stuff. So
Yeah.
the last thing, on a lighter note, to ask you, because you're so intense and your work is so intense, do you have any hobbies and pastimes? I'd love to know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I have several hobbies. Well, let's say let's be more like yeah, I have two hobbies, right?
Okay.
I like to watch all kind of series, especially series or documentaries that I can learn from. It could go from cooking, right,
Okay.
till the space,
Okay.
right? So I go. That's my range. It's huge, right? Especially during like the lockdown where I was only home, right? I knew how to cook. I was looking at the ones of like cooking, and I said like, hey, this is just like my research. I just translate whatever they are doing to my research. You know, it's like a
Right.
step by step. You mix things, right? You try new things, right? And then you try. If you don't, if nothing happens, it's good, right? If you don't get sick, it's good.
That's right.
So I was just learning from those series. I was getting so excited. I'm like, I know how to do this now. I felt that I was already a chef. I wasn't,
It's
but I
great.
believed that I was a chef, right? And learning like also from these documentaries about the war, like how we can save the war in many aspects, right? And that's something that I usually translate into One to War, this organization you mentioned about, right? About volunteering. Just go talk with the students, middle school or high school students in New York area, either Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, right? As they learn from me, I learn from them. They have a lot of ideas. Uh, Kids nowadays, they are so smart. I'm telling you right now, they are so smart. And believe it or not, we, the adults, we can learn a lot from them.
Correct.
We need to listen to them. People
Correct.
don't listen to them, and we need to, right?
Correct. I
And
marvel
yeah,
at these young generations coming up because, you know, when I grew up, my only source of information was a little encyclopedia. Uh, and you know, I laugh about that because this has more information than the computers that put a man on the moon. You know about that.
yeah,
This little thing here is way stronger than the computers. So, and I spent so much time talking to young people, and I taught them. You know, I taught young people at Rutgers, and I just marvel uh, at their knowledge because their input, using a scientific term, the input is like 24/7. The stuff coming in here, there's no downtime. There's every which way you turn in your modern day life, you're getting input from whether it's the internet. I mean, it's just constant input, and it's all coming up here.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I grew up, when I grew up, there was no such thing as input, and we had about 5 black and white television channels that went on the air at 7 and went off at midnight,
Hmm.
and that was it. So and I'm hell bent now to kind of shove as much stuff up here as I can, and learning from people like you, and just getting the background. So, and by the way, I meant to say, when I was talking about Ray Kurzweil, the conference I went to was called Singularity,
Okay.
and he has a university called Singularity University, and he's been really worried about what happens down the road, not too far, when man and machine become one. The ethics and the morals and what happens, and we had a little look at that in the movie 2001, when the computer takes over the spaceship, because you were talking about space. But so I had gone to this conference in New York as a journalist some years ago, not too many years ago, but and that's where this Russian scientist was talking about. It was really cool because uh, um, I also went to a lecture from Michio Kaku, who wrote The Physics of the Future. And in listening to you, Fernando, talking about the work you're doing, which is kind of futuristic, I mean, he talked about the day not too far from now when I'm shaving. And in the wallpaper in my bathroom, there are little chips, which is what you're doing. I don't know. There are little chips, and one of those little chips is looking inside me, and it finds one cancer cell, and it registers an alarm, and then they take something. I drink something or take something, and it goes and finds that one cancer cell and wipes it out. Part of the future. And
Yes.
part of the future that you're working on. So I can't thank you enough. We've waited a long time for this, to do this, and we've done it. Maybe just the beginning, because you're so fascinating. I'd love to have you come back, and we talked about this too, and talk about other things and stuff you're doing. So I really thank you so much for your time and your passion and your giving back and the work you're doing at Rutgers. You truly made my day, and you made my week.
No, thank you, Calvin, for the opportunity.
Yes.
As I said,
Yeah.
and yeah, thank you for for the opportunity, for letting me share
Oh,
a little bit about myself to the whole world.
Yeah, and we're gonna spread the word. You'll spread the word. I'll spread the word. It's just been so fascinating listening to you, your journey. It's just been a great journey. So anyway, Fernando, to be continued, and I thank you so much. And we're gonna sign off now, and I'd love to have you come back. So thank you.
No, thank you, Calvin. Thank you so much.